morning. Happy Wednesday. We are up early this morning because we are going to go help with a town cleanup. So we are headed there now. It's chilly this morning. It's like 40 something degrees.
43.
Brr.
Kelly's got the big shovel. I've got the broom. She's got a trash bag. I got a couple trash bags. And it's a divide and conquer kind of deal. We're going to start here at the intersection, work our way down and back up. And we're big fans and advocates of the town revitalization and cleaning process. So happy to be a part of it this morning.
Tonight we're running on the right track. I know we never gonna look back. Oh, I just wanna have a good time. Call me whatever. 'Cause I'm up for anything like that. Oh no, we don't wanna do slow-mo. So tonight we just let go. To the beat in the streets, every freak out singing like.
We're on to the other side of the street now. We've got a crew. We ran back over to the house. I needed to get some clippers to cut down some big old weeds or vines. And then we're going to finish up out there. Well, thank you for water. Town's all cleaned up, ship shape. We worked together in the community and got it looking real good. We good.
The third light came on today. It's going to be a good day.
Kelly's getting ready to edit and upload yesterday's video because we had to be up bright and early. We went to bed earlier because she didn't have time to update last night, so we didn't do it or upload last night, so she's going to upload today. And here's our map still for those, if anybody.
Yay.
I saw that somebody was online, like viewing the website the other day that was from Arizona. We need that too.
We also had someone from Kansas or Kentucky. I can't remember which one now.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was Kansas or Kentucky, but we need both. If you'd be so inclined. And I'm going to let Kelly get to work here. We've got these two packagings that need to go out, so I'm going to go ahead and run them up now. It's just about 2 o'clock, so it's the right time to go. I'm just real happy with how well, like how good town looks this morning, because of how well they did with like town cleanup and everything. And I mean, they washed windows, cut back old trees, and swept up a lot of the old gravel and stuff. It makes a huge difference, and you wouldn't think something so simple would make such a dramatic impact, but it really does. Just looking down through town just really looks so just so vibrant, and it's just like this, like, I don't know, it gives me a warm feeling. I don't know, just being a little, not nostalgic, but like just in awe just of how awesome when you have people that are in a position that are actually willing to do the work that needs to be done and to organize something like that to really help. It brings happiness to your heart. I'm always a firm believer in revitalization, with upkeep, things like that, and these are things that I do regularly for the shop. I mean, we need to clean the siding and stuff, but it was just painted last year, so you have to be careful. You can't pressure wash until it really settles and the paint would set. But we're going to come out here with brushing and stuff and sponging and stuff and clean it with water here within the next few days. And then we're going to decorate and stuff. So, like, it's all going to come together, but, you know, for our section of town here, Kelly and I work hard to maintain our section, and it was just good to have people come together to do a lot of the other way, like the entire main street all the way up. Just phenomenal. Now I gotta get these two old birds over to the post office to make sure that they go out. Now the bottom one are buttercrocks, so they are fragile. So we packed it real tight. We put fragile stickers on both sides. So we're really hopeful nothing that they'll be protected, and Kelly loaded it with bubble wrap. The funny story with the buttercrocks, when my sister had come in and bought one, and she gave it as a gift to her sister-in-law that she was visiting, and they loved it so much that she actually ordered more because she wants to give them a gift. So love you guys. Got Kelly out doing manual labor.
Hey, when your mower's broken, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Our gas mower does not work, and I think we told you in another video that her mom purchased it at an auction, but it works really, really well. It's really, really nice. We have it set where it's cutting really high right now, and she'll do the higher level, and then I'll lower it, and then I'll cut it lower to try and maintain it. And then I have my weed eater. I'll come out and trim. And if you notice, Snuggling over there hanging out watching his mama work. You alright back there?
Yeah.
Look at you go, box man.
I got a little stuck.
The blades are a little thinner than the tires, so there is a strip there that you missed. You gotta tighten it up a little bit. But other than that, it looks great.
It's a stretch, but
No, I think it actually, like, that really does a good job.
yeah. We'll just have to lower the blade and like, I'll do this and then we'll lower the blade and do it again. Justin took over a little bit here.
We're getting ready to close up the shop. Kelly found a semi-local place here. Selling mums for a really good rate. And so they're kind of the best deals that we've actually seen anywhere. So we want to go do that. So her mom is here to pick us up to go. And then we're going to go pick out some mums. That way hopefully we can get this porch cleaned and decorated this week. We took the longest roundabout way to get here. However, look at it. I'm loving it already. I cannot wait. The best deal on mums around. Aww.
Mum kitties.
They've got kitties everywhere. I have to touch them.
That one looks like a little lion.
I must touch them.
Number five.
5.
So pick out 2 for the planter things.
One of that one.
You want this one?
I love that one. Hi, kitty. They are so cute. They are so precious.
These great big ones are only 12.
Oh, they're only 12. That one's that's gorgeous. I love it.
Okay, we'll get that one.
Absolutely love it. I'm not usually a fan of the white mum. Ooh.
Don't tell Snuggles. You spooked him. Oh, look at that little one sleeping back there.
We got the good. What looks good down?
Everything.
We're doing a tour of Mexico.
Is that a string cheese?
String cheese?
I don't know what it is.
We got the mums over on the porch. I got a bucket. I filled it with water, and then you soak it. I heard about mums like to be watered from the bottom because the water on the flower will damage the flowers. And if you soak them for 10 minutes or whatever, if they absorb the water, they hold it a lot longer, and that they'll actually be able to go a couple of weeks without needing water in between, especially if it can be a little cooler weather like we're going to have this week. Nothing really over 70. It's not going to be in direct sunlight, so they should just thrive. If it were to get warm out, you want to probably water them every other day with this method, or if you're going to use a hose, every day. And our little Snuggy boy wanted to be with us. We were out for a while because we went to dinner and everything too. He'd been left here, and he wanted to be snuggled now. Don't you, baby? Oh, I want to, if you can see those triangles we put on the windows the other day. See that little touch that they give over here? Just a little added thing. It's really like nothing, but something at the same time. I also love coming over to the window at night and looking into the shop when it's dark. With the town cleanup we did, everything looks great now. My light and the one down the way over here need replaced. Kelly and I will probably do that here another day this week.
I forgot yesterday that we had said we were going to do our business Q&A in that video. We got busy with other stuff and I completely forgot, and so we remembered today and we'll talk about it now.
Day late and $1 short.
We had about 4-ish questions. They're just kind of like general questions. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about our business and our situation a little bit, and then try to like answer the questions in that. The first thing to know would be that our business situation is a little bit more unique than some others because we do not rent or lease a space for our business. We own the property that our business is located on. So that is a major difference for us compared to other people who aren't renting or leasing from a company or something.
I would say if you had the opportunity to find a property that you could buy outright, and it's hard to give you any kind of figure because everybody's situation is different. Owning your property though does make a big difference. If you compare what you would end up paying for rent in the area versus what you would pay to own it, and then go from there.
Yeah, it just depends on your area, because I'm sure like in major cities or whatever, it may not be the case that that's the best option for you, but for us, that is the best option
right
here where we live in small town Pennsylvania. Obviously, if you're looking to put a location into a mall, an outlet mall, a strip mall, whatever the case might be, obviously those, someone else owns that. Like, you can't just buy that. So leasing is your only option there. But
it's not something that we've had to do, but I would think if you were looking at that option and you were going to get a business loan for your business, you probably would want to calculate
a few months at least.
5 or 6 months maybe worth of what that lease or that rental is going to cost you to give you that much time to really
settle.
Yeah. And get things
Yeah.
figured out and let the product move and hopefully
Yeah.
Make the difference.
So again, someone asked kind of like about how much we had saved or whatever for our startup and stuff like that. I would love to just be able to be completely transparent with all of you, but as you know, the internet and not all people are good people, and so we have to protect ourselves in what we talk about on here. So I know some of our answers are going to seem a little bit vague. We will do our best to give you as much information as we can, but at the end of the day, we have to protect ourselves and make sure that we aren't oversharing. So
the other thing, we've accumulated the equipment over years worth of time.
Yes,
it was before the idea of the shop. We were, this is some of your crafting stuff. Mm-hmm. This is a side hustle, like you would say.
Right. So our situation, again, is a little bit unique. We had done this on the side and online and at craft fairs and vendor shows for years before we decided that we were going to open a brick and mortar shop. Yeah. I worked at that for almost a full year from our home, our old house, before we even thought of this, really.
Yeah, and the equipment was bought a piece at a time. As you develop new hobbies.
Right. So back then we just purchased things over time. So our startup funds did not need to be quite as high as other people's would be, because we also didn't need to pay, first and last month's rent and security deposit, because it was property that we already purchased. So that makes that a little difficult to answer, because it also depends on what your location looks like, how big your location is, what kind of fixtures you need, what your clientele needs. We bought all of our fixtures for the most part used. Most every fixture that we have in our store was either from an antique store, a thrift store, or a yard sale, because that's just, or an auction, because that's just the budget we were working in. We did our opening as low budget as we possibly could.
Right.
Which I would really recommend to anybody trying to figure that out, but don't figure out what your non-negotiables are. Mm-hmm. Figure out the things that you are not willing to scrimp on, the things that are very important to you, things like signage, because people have to know you're there to come. So advertising stuff, signage, that kind of stuff. Like the computer that we use for our point of sale, our register, that was my computer that I've had for years.
And we even bought that refurbished.
Yeah, open box, yeah.
Open box.
So, that was another larger expense that we did not have to do. We didn't have to do renovations to our space, per se. Everything that needed done to our space, we could do. Pretty much. We or a family member could do.
Between us and your mom, we were able to.
Yep, and your brother and my uncle.
Oh, yeah.
And my cousins.
Yep. It was much a family affair.
So, while we can't give you exact numbers, because honestly, right this minute, I can't even really tell you exact numbers without, going back in and, looking at my files and stuff. Yeah. What's his name?
Luther Frank.
Luther Frank. Well, I can't go back in and give you exact numbers. We can give you our best advice, and that is to start with your list. This is exactly what we did. Mm-hmm. I made a list of everything that I needed for our business. And if you would like me to do a more in-depth video about that sometime in the future, I could put it on the list for probably the beginning of next year, but I could share some of that with you. But we made a list of everything that we needed or wanted for our business. Then from there, I started researching each item, and I even included on there items that I knew we already had. So like, I already knew that we were planning to use my desktop computer for our register. So I put it on the list anyway, because it was something that I needed to think about. I needed to weigh the option of using the one that we already had or purchasing a new one or whatever. I just wanted to make sure that we weighed all of the options. So just make your list of everything that you think of. If you're doing renovations, if you're painting, if you need to do decorate your windows, your signage, your supplies, your equipment, your whatever. Make the list and then start your research. Research what you're looking for, where you think you want to buy it, and then just like start researching and make on your list. I did it in like an Excel spreadsheet so that I could put, how many I thought I needed to start with. So like, I think I bought, I don't know, like 15 boxes of hangers when we first started. So because that's like how many I figured we needed. I don't know, it was like 10 or 15 boxes. So then I would make a note of where I found it at. I made a note of how much it cost, and then I also made notes if I had a coupon code or if something was on sale at the time, and if I knew when the sale ended, I would make note of that there, just so you knew at that point it's either going to be more expensive or you're going to need to wait for it to be on sale again, or if it's something that you really know that you need to just go ahead and purchase it. So once we had that list compiled, I added everything up and looked at what my figure was, and I will tell you that it was disgusting to me what that figure was. Then from there, we went back in. We didn't delete anything from the list. We went back in and we went through and we said, okay, we can do without this. Or I saw something that's not exactly what I want, but it will work for now. And it's significantly cheaper. So then we tweaked some things. We highlighted things that maybe we didn't necessarily need right now. We could wait on those. Or, if there really was something that we were like, okay, well, that seems unnecessary, we would do the little strike through thing so that you could still see it and be reminded of it, but it crossed it off the list.
Sorry, boy, it didn't make the cut.
Yeah. And then from there, we just really worked hard to find what we needed at the best cost. Now, is that what everybody wants to do? No, it's not, and that's okay. If you want to take out a business loan or have a ton of money saved up and you just want to buy everything on Amazon, you go for it. That's fine. That's perfect.
To know what you need for your crowdfunding, you need to know what works in your area for what you could be. We're in rural Pennsylvania. If you're in California or even in Canada or somewhere like that, I don't know what your numbers are like, and it's hard to give you a set number.
Yeah,
but creating a list to compile that, and then once you see that bottom line, if that number scares you, then definitely cut back, because if you can even do without for maybe 2 years, you can I'll just get that later down the line. Cut it for now, but like she said, put that line through so you can still see it. But just don't do it. Just don't leap yet until you're ready. Yeah,
and we did that. There are things that we would like to have or want to do, and fixtures we want to upgrade in our store that we're not at that place yet, and that's okay. Our checkout counter, our checkout stand, we got that used off Facebook Marketplace.
And it ain't heavy
all of our like fixtures that are like dressers and display cases, we got all of those from antique stores and auctions. All of our hanging racks, we got all of those from one of them came from Marketplace, another one came from an auction, yard sales. And then we bought like a couple little supplemental things from like Hobby Lobby. We bought something, and then a couple little things from Amazon.
I think Hobby Lobby did have the best price on the mannequins that we used.
They did, yeah.
So if you're looking for
Would
those
recommend that.
those mannequins,
But
Hobby
also,
Lobby was top notch.
we did find a couple at yard sales too that were good. So it's just depends on how much work you want to put into it. If you're not interested in going to all these stores and going to yard sales and going to thrift stores and antique stores and all this stuff and doing all that, and you just want to order it and be done, there are tons of places that you can do that. I don't know what they are because I did not do that. We just aren't those type of people in general. Like, we always are trying to be wise with our money and frugal, and we're not always the best at it, but we try. We do try.
We take every avenue that we can to keep it low.
Yeah. And sort of the same thing kind of goes for the cost to stock our store. So our store is kind of a two-part thing. There is the part of the things that are ours, that we own and we've made and we've purchased to put in the store. There is also, we have a couple handfuls of local vendors that have product in our store.
And just to touch on that too, we worked in that market with these vendors. We were a vendor, and so we made these connections with them through these markets, and that was such a huge connection, and very important to that part of the story, because these weren't vendors that we sought out. Really, they were people that
for the most part, it was people
they were friends
that we know and are friends with.
They tell you not to get into business, with family and friends. If you find the right people, though, it's the difference between working hard and working smart, what I mean? So.
Yep. We had a lot of things in our shop when we first opened, and we still do, that were not a cost to us to put them in our store. How that works, kind of, without sharing too much, because that's not fair to our vendors to just go out here and like start spreading their business all over the place either. But how it works essentially here for us, it was really important to me to have a space for our friends to have their items in a storefront that they can send people to any time. Because I know, especially in the winter and the early spring, that is not vendor show time. After Christmas and before Easter is not vendor show time. And so it can be really tricky for them. I mean, it can be tricky for us having a store too, to get people in, but it's even harder to make sales when you don't have these shows to go to. And so it was really important to me to make this affordable and an option for our friends to do. And so how we do it is we just charge them a percentage when we make the sales. Now, some places I know of, they do a monthly fee as well. That just is not something that at the current time I want to do. That doesn't mean it won't change in the future, but for right now,
a large deciding factor on not charging them a monthly thing was also the fact that we own the building. If we were renting and it was a serious issue, that was something we would have probably had to consider a little more heavily. But the fact that we are in control of that, it made it a little easier.
Right. And we also, I have been told, I don't totally know every place that does this. I don't know what their percentages are, because that's not something I would be willing to ask them, but I have been told by some of our vendors that our percentage is quite a bit lower than other places that they have had their things or do currently have their things. And that is fine. Like, that is totally fine to have it higher than what ours is. I know ours is very low. That was intentional because, again, I wanted this to be something where my friends could put their items to make money, not for me to make money off of their craft. I want to make money on my own craft and my own things that I curate into our shop. So that's my heart on that matter. I understand where that doesn't work for everybody, and it's not feasible for everybody, and that is totally okay. I think that if you are willing to open a storefront and offer spaces for vendors and do that, even with a small monthly fee and a percentage of the sale, I think that's an amazing thing. You're giving small businesses that wouldn't otherwise be able to make it in a storefront an opportunity to expand their line, expand their business, and potentially you're giving somebody the opportunity to see that, wow, people really do like my stuff. Maybe I can open my own little storefront someday. I think that's an amazing thing, regardless of how you do it. It's just, that's where my heart is on the matter.
I think percentage is really just your perspective on what you want to
Yeah, and also I think it depends on your location. Again, everything is so location based. In rural Pennsylvania, I can't say, oh, give me 40%. People wouldn't do it.
We wouldn't have vendors.
Yeah, or $50 a month and here's your one little shelf. We can't do that. Like, that just isn't gonna cut it here. But maybe it would for you. I don't know.
And if you're not a maker and you don't know makers and you're looking to start a shop, you need to find the best wholesaler. And you'll find, when you start looking up and searching for wholesalers, you're going to find a whole bunch, and you'll actually find some that will come to you, that'll message you and say, hey, I'm interested to...
Or stop in at your shop when you're open.
Yep. Find the one that's the right fit for you. I think some offer maybe credit or financing.
Yeah, they offer terms.
Buy it outright.
Yeah. Some will offer you terms where you can get the product and then you can have it for whatever their terms are. Some are like 60 day, 30 day, 90 day, whatever. You have the product, and then in whatever the term limit is, at that point is when you have to pay it back. So it's really nice because it gives you, when you're just starting out, it gives you the option to have products for 60 days to sell them before you have to pay for them. Now how much...
When that time runs out...
Yep. You have to pay it.
They're going to come knocking.
They will deduct it from your account. How much you will be allowed to do that, they'll determine that. Like, it's determined from them. It's not just like one set amount, like you can just spend how much ever you want. There's like limits to it. But as far as figuring out like how much to spend or whatever, you're gonna have to figure out a budget for yourself, and then just like go from there. It's scary and it's really tricky when you're doing it at the beginning because you truly just like have no idea. One of the things I think that I would recommend to do is like think about what you would like to have in your store, and then like if you're conflicted and you're unsure, on your social media do some like this or that polls. Like when you see places do that, they're probably trying to determine which item they want to have in their store or what they want to offer. But I do it sometimes. I mean, not a ton anymore, but I've done it before.
Especially before we opened.
Yeah. We would do this or that polls, and it would be like this sweater or this one, and then people would pick, and like I would go with one that got more votes. Now that's not foolproof because obviously like anybody can vote on stuff, but not everybody that votes is going to come into your store and buy the item. But that's okay. It at least gives you an idea of what people in your area are looking for. The people in your customer base, it'll show you what they're interested in at the very least. And like, yeah, you're going to buy things that are going to be like a big fat flop. It's going to happen. At that point, you just decide what you're going to do. You run a special on it. You mark it down. You sell it for what you paid for it. To just get it sold is better than stuck.
Right.
If you have, I mean, it's unfortunate to sell things that for not a profit, but to make your money back is better than it sitting there or getting to a point where you're not even going to be able to make your money back.
And you're going to have times where you're going to be deathly afraid, terrified, and you're going to see, you're going to see positive in your account, and you might see a negative in your account. You're going to panic when you see 3 weeks of nobody coming in the door, or, you cannot be discouraged. You cannot give up. You have to continue to fight. And think about that. Your dream. Don't give up on your dream. Your legacy. If you're taking the leap of faith like we did, that leap, God had our back 100% of the time. And
just keep pushing. I mean, it's hard. It can be hard, and I know it's so much work, and marketing alone is exhausting, trying to figure out all of that and like what to do, but it's worth it when you can look around at the end of the day and be like, wow, like we do this.
Just beware the J months and make sure if you're depending on what quarter you're starting in, just try to keep some back for your first quarter, because that's always your worst quarter.
Yeah, we opened in August, and so it was a little shocking to me how desperate things get in February. Just because I wasn't anticipating it, but I also was in, again, a unique situation that I was very burnt out after December. Till we got to January, I was over the marketing. I was so over it. I was tired. I was not releasing new stuff the way that I now know I should have been. I wasn't marking stuff down the way I should have been. It's a learning curve, and that's the most important thing to remember, is you're not failing, you're learning. If you can take the hard moments and figure out something different and learn from them, you're not failing, you're learning. Everybody had to learn. It's not like Jeff Bezos woke up one day and just knew how to run Amazon at the level that it's at right now, 3 Prime days a year. Like, no, it was a bookstore from a garage. Like it wasn't what it is now. So you can't look at somebody else's journey where they're 10, 15, 20 years ahead of you, even 5 years ahead of you, and think, oh, I'm not doing this right. Look at where they are. Mm-hmm. Well, of course that's where they are, because they have way more experience than you do. But that doesn't mean you're failing. Just keep going, one foot in front of the other, and just keep trying things.
And like I said, if you get done paying your bills and buying the food that you need and you have $1 left, you are succeeding, my friend. Mm-hmm. You have food, you have roof, you have clothing, and you still have people that are going to come in. And that $1 is just not going to last that long. It's going to grow again. Mm-hmm. I mean, as long as you keep up with your business, it's going to continue to grow.
So that's kind of those things. One other thing that I wanted to talk about was somebody asked about product expansion. That is a whole topic that I could go on and on about. But the short answer is yes, we always are looking at new things to expand, new lines, new product types, new areas, all kinds of new things. We are always looking for something that's new and exciting and that will get more people into our store.
And if you know Kelly, you know that she's not satisfied with one. She'll start with one thing. Once she perfects it, here's something new that's going to be new and exciting to try. And she tries that. And then there's another, you've done that. We've got that under our belt. And it's like, here's another thing. Let's try this. So she's always looking to try something new. That's the crafty side of her. She's the maker, she's the artisan. I'm just here to help.
Not just. He is not just here to help. He does help a lot. And really, at this point, I just don't know how I did it for a whole year without him.
God.
Because
Right.
if you have any other questions, feel free to, if you follow us like on Instagram, I'm at The Life of Kelly on Instagram. It's also linked in the description. Send me a message on there. I'd love to talk to you a little bit more one-on-one, like if you have specific questions about your type of business or whatever. Like obviously I'm not like a business advisor or a financial advisor by any sort. I'm not a professional, but I am someone that really has a heart for small business. I love small businesses. They are what makes our
They're the backbone
economic
they're the backbone of the economy.
They are what makes our economic world go round. And
They're the ones that are donating to your Little League team.
yeah, and I just think small business is so important. And I think that if people knew how starting a business is not as hard as everyone makes it out to be, in my experience. Like the logistics of starting a business is not as difficult as it may seem. The financial side and that stuff, that is very difficult. But the logistics of starting a business are not as hard as you think it is.
I think somebody once said it's easy to start one. It takes someone with determination to keep it going.
Yeah. So if you're interested in hearing more about that, or you have any further questions, or if I can help you in any way, I will always do my best to help you. So follow me on Instagram and you can message me there, and I will be happy to chat with you about that.
Another big thing, if you're on Instagram, if you're friends or you're following a bunch of things that aggravate you or upset you, just get rid of it. I follow so many motivational things, especially that are related to small business, and that stuff sometimes is what props you up. If you're following other small businesses, which is great, you're going to see if they've been in business longer that they're going to be posting things you're like, I'm never going to get to that point. If you're going to feel like that and you want to support them, just wait until you're at a point where you feel more comfortable doing that. And stick with the motivational stuff. Okay? There are plenty of people who their whole purpose is to say, hey girl, keep going. Pick up your, tie your boots and keep moving. You know what I mean? Whatever
That's a new one. Tie your boots and keep
I just
moving.
made that one up. That's
like
motivational
it.
for you. Tie your boots and start walking. I think I'm going to get pretty long. We should probably just end the video because we've had a long day.
Yeah, we're not going to do anything else this evening. Just hang out. So thanks for watching, and we will see you tomorrow.
Good night.
Good night.